I'm Jessica. Back when I was young and reckless, I messed with the feelings of a mechanic. Later, my husband killed me in a rage, and that's when I realized how deeply he loved me. I got a second chance, waking up the night before our wedding. I went to find Ken. I saw another girl helping him put on a helmet, ready to race. I ran over and hugged him, tears streaming down my face. Don't go. I don't want anything to happen to you. Ken stiffened and coldly pushed me away. What's this act now, princess? That night, Ken dumped me in his studio apartment. You brought this on yourself. You ran away, shouldn't have come back. I embraced him tightly, tears of having lost and regained him landing on my shoulder. He cried. Vincent died even more tragically than I did. At my funeral, Ken barged in and pinned Vincent down. Punch after punch landed. By the time others pulled them apart, Vincent was already coughing up blood, no longer breathing. Ken held my black and white photo, tracing my smiling face, allowing the police to take him away. The night before his execution, a cop asked him, was it worth it, fighting for someone else's wife? Do you regret it? Ken stared at the wall, writing my name over and over with his finger. I regret it. If I had known what she'd go through after we split, I would never have let her go. Drifting above, my heart ached unbearably. My thoughts were interrupted by an urgent phone ringing. Jessica, is that you? Ken's going to race, and no one can stop him. Can you talk to him? Ken. I opened my eyes, squinting at the bright light. Before I could speak, a cool, indifferent voice spoke on the other end. Who are you calling? Ken had taken the phone. Speak, his impatient voice demanded, though I detected a slight tremble. Last time, on this day, I told Ken not to call me anymore as I was getting married. He went berserk, raced, and ended up in jail for years. By the time he got out, I was already someone else's wife. Now, tears welled up, and I said, Ken, I really miss you. From the other end, his breathing turned heavy. Ken coldly replied, you miss me? Does your fiancé know? Or is he there listening to my pathetic lines? Ken, you misunderstood. Before I could explain, Vincent walked in. Jessica, Mom wants to know if her red dress is okay for tomorrow. I heard Ken scoff on the line. Are you done yet? The call ended. Vincent waved a hand in front of me. What's wrong, Jessica? Whose call was that? Ignoring him, I grabbed my phone and dashed out. This time, I had to change the ending. When I arrived, I spotted Ken immediately. He was wearing a black jacket, standing next to a tall girl who was helping him with a helmet. I rushed over, hugging Ken's waist in front of everyone's shocked gaze. Don't go. I don't want anything to happen to you. Ken stiffened again, pushing me away coldly. What game are you playing now? Standing before him, tears fell as I said, Ken, let's go home, okay? As I reached for his hand, Rita slapped it away. Who do you think you are, coming back now? It's disgusting. Ken's expression darkened, his eyes on my reddening hand, but he said nothing. The white-haired guy who was racing with him approached, arms around two others. So, are we doing this or not? No. Ken turned away, leaving me stunned. I recognized that guy. At a dark bar, I'd seen him talking to Vincent from afar. Could Ken's stint in prison have been Vincent's plan? The white-haired guy grinned. Not up for it? Sure. How are you paying the penalty? I pulled out a card from my bag. How much? I'll pay. In silence, Ken snatched it from me, throwing it back. I missed, and the card fell. Jessica, did you come all this way just to humiliate me? I knew why Ken thought like this. Back then, after our breakup, he'd stood outside my house for days. When I finally saw him, I took him to a mall, bought millions in goods, and threw them at him. Ken, do you still think you're worthy of being with me? I left without looking back. He didn't stop me. Now, shaking my head, I said, no, Ken, I didn't mean it that way. But Ken wasn't listening anymore. He put on his helmet, eyes passing over to the white-haired guy. If we're gonna race, hurry up. I have no time to waste. The white-haired guy smirked at me, putting on his helmet and climbing into the car. Rita shot me a glance. Save your crocodile tears, they're worthless. Think Ken will ever love you like before. Keep dreaming. She joined the crowd running towards the cars, while I stood there. Sam, who called me, approached saying, Jessica, I'm sorry for intruding. I won't bother you again. No, I replied, shaking my head. Thank you for calling. Setting my gaze firmly on Ken, I rushed to him. His engine roared, speeding to life. I ran into the street, arms spread and eyes shut, standing in front of his car. The screech of brakes sliced through the air. The red car stopped a millimeter from my knees. Heat radiated towards me, and I nearly buckled. Ken jumped out, approaching me. Have you lost your mind? What if I hadn't stopped? Jessica, don't drag me down if you want to end it all. My legs gave way, collapsing forward. He caught me instinctively. Pushing him aside, I got into his red car's passenger seat. What are you doing? Ken asked. Sustaining my resolve, I smiled. We can race, but I'm coming with you. Ken studied me for a few seconds, with an unreadable expression. Are you sure? I nodded. Positive. Don't cry about it later. He got into the driver's seat. The car took off, nearly making me fly out. Ken lost. With me there, he couldn't risk racing. The white-haired guy won, but he wasn't even happy. I know, he couldn't care less about the money. He wanted Ken to spend the rest of his life paying for it. When the match ended, Ken ignored me and was surrounded by people as he moved forward. Sam walked over. Your card. I had a thought and pretended to faint backward. Sam caught me, and when I opened my eyes, Ken was already in front of me. Wow, he's quick. And he says he doesn't care about me. He had a grumpy face. Seeing my trembling legs, he spoke sharply. Now you're scared? What was with the show-off earlier? I reached out to him. My legs hurt. I'm dizzy. I feel like throwing up. I don't feel well. Ken, I need a hug. He didn't hug me. I had to collapse into his arms myself. Ken instinctively caught me. By the time he realized it, I was already hugging his waist. I'm not feeling well. I breathed warmly on Ken's neck. He blushed and pushed me away. Jessica, did you forget or did I forget? You're supposed to get married. Need me to remind you? I ignored my phone that hadn't stopped ringing. Jessica, where are you? Why aren't you picking up? Mom wants to know when you'll come back. I'm not going back. I looked into Ken's deep eyes and said, yeah, I'm not getting married. It's not impulsive, it's a notice. I fell in love with someone else. Get out of my house ASAP. I hung up. My eyes were teary, but I smiled at Ken, asking, all right, no one to interrupt us now. Do you want to talk to me? Ken's eyes were deep, his lips tight. He asked, Jessica, messing with me over and over. Does it amuse you? I'm not messing with you. A tear fell as I grabbed Ken's hand. Ken, I like you. He didn't believe my confession. He just shook off my hand and said, suit yourself. Rita followed him. Couldn't resist throwing shade too. Jessica, if I were you, I'd be far away by now, acting all high and mighty. I followed them. They sat at a barbecue joint. I wanted to sit at a table next to them. Sam pulled me over, seating me next to him. I gave him a thankful smile. Someone was displeased. Why'd you call her over? Yeah, if she hadn't interfered, Ken wouldn't have lost to that guy. Ken, this your first loss in a competition, right? Ken just nodded, head down, doodling on a menu. I whispered, sorry, it was my fault you lost. Someone snorted, if sorry could fix it, why do we need the police? He picked up the biggest beer mug, put it in front of me. You should at least show some sincerity in your apology, right? A mug full of beer, foaming over. Sam stepped in, come on, cut it out, would ya? Sam, what's your deal? Got a crush on her? Sam's face turned red. Don't talk nonsense. Then stay out of it. They turned back to me, asking, what do you say? I looked at Ken. He was still picking dishes, Rita whispering beside him. I'll drink. As soon as I spoke, Ken paused with his pencil and looked up. Saw me lift the mug, gulping down. He came over and took it from me. That's enough, Ken said. Jessica, this isn't the place for you. Go home. Ken, are you abandoning me? Ken chuckled dryly. Jessica, is it me abandoning you? Right. It's me who gave up on him. Ken and I were together for 2 years. When it came time to talk marriage, my parents wouldn't agree. Mom cried, telling me the company had a financial crisis for a long time. Only by marrying Vincent and joining forces could we break the deadlock. I wouldn't marry. After fasting for 3 days at home, my dad suddenly had a stroke. Seeing my once proud father on the hospital bed, unable to eat or drink by himself, I didn't sleep all night. The next morning, I told Mom, I will marry. I thought marrying Vincent would change my family's fate, but Dad still passed, and Mom was set up and killed by Vincent. Shortly after Mom died, Vincent took me out for a drive, saying it'd ease my mind. On a lonely cliff, he pushed me off. The past life's nightmare was still fresh. I wandered aimlessly, with Ken not caring about me anymore. They drank together while I stood alone on the street corner. A few drunken punks sauntered over. Hey, alone? Care for a drink? No thanks. I tried to walk away fast. They blocked me. Come on, don't go. What's your name? Just one drink. Their grimy hands were about to touch me. A hand chopped through the air, grabbing the guy's wrist and twisting it back with a crack. He winced. Ken stood in front of me, saying nothing. Who are you? Better stay out of this. Ken merely glared coldly, impatiently saying, bring it on, I'm in a hurry. They brandished knives. I grabbed Ken's shirt. Ken, they have knives. Sam and the others came over too. Outnumbered, the punks chickened out. Don't let us see you again. If I do, I'll beat you up every time. They fled. Thank you. I let go of Ken's shirt. He turned to leave. I caught his hand. Ken, can I stay with you? I have nowhere to go. I followed Ken back to his rental. He'd had a bit to drink, slightly tipsy. Tossed me a blanket. I'll let you stay one night, then you go home tomorrow. Got it? So stern. I nodded. Ken grabbed his jacket, about to leave. I blocked him. Where are you going? None of your business. I took a gamble and held his hand. Ken, I'm scared. Sleeping alone is terrifying. Thinking back, the first time Ken and I broke the ice, I also found an excuse. I'm scared to sleep alone. At that moment, Ken's deep eyes were on me. He asked, Jessica, do you know what you're saying? I nodded and moved closer to him. Hearing Ken take a sharp breath and his Adam's apple moving, he said, Jessica, I'm not that cheap. I'm not interested in someone else's wife. I stood there, stunned. Watching Ken storm past me and slam the door on his way out left me sitting on the bed, heartbroken, unable to control my emotions. I'd been too full of myself. Someone as proud as Ken would never accept me as I am now. So what did all his kindness mean in our past life? Half asleep, I dozed off. When I woke up, my phone was filled with messages. My mom, my cousin, my relatives, even Vincent. I called my mom back. Why didn't you answer your phone? Jessica, where are you? Do you even know what time it is? I glanced at the clock on the wall. I had gotten it for Ken, a yellow pudding dog one. He found it too cute and didn't like it. Despite being apart for so long, he hadn't taken it down. It's afternoon. What's up? What's up? Are you serious? Your wedding has already started. Where on earth are you? I found it a little funny. If the bride isn't there, who's Vincent marrying? He said you're not feeling well and moved the ceremony to the evening. Get back here right now. I can't go back. The door opened. Ken had come back with something. He placed the keys on the coffee table. My mom, sensing something was wrong, asked, Jessica, where are you exactly? Mom, please don't worry yourself. I'm not going to marry him. As for the company, I'll figure it out. Gotta go now. I hung up and Ken, without even looking up, said, come eat. I got out of bed and walked over, noticing his cold gaze. Put on your shoes. He tossed me a pair of pink slippers, new, with tags. My mind drifted to a past year. I was lazy and didn't bother with slippers at home, so Ken always followed me, helping me put them on. Thanks, I said, swallowing a lump in my throat. Ken unpacked the food and set it on the table. Finish eating and go home. It was red velvet cake, my once favorite dessert. He probably didn't want me to get the wrong idea. He lit a cigarette and stood by the window. As the wind blew the smoke away, Ken said, I just saw it and bought it. No big deal. I nodded, sat down. The sweet tofu was too sweet now, and tears unexpectedly streamed down my face as I ate. Ken tossed his cigarette and handed me a tissue. Jessica, you really should have considered acting. I looked up. Ken, can we ever go back to how it was? His eyes darkened. What do you think? I nodded, tears flowing. Got it, then I won't bother you anymore. As I reached the door, a gust blew through, and Ken's arms locked around my waist, pinning me to the wall. In the enclosed space, our breathing mixed. Ken's face was pained and confused as he bowed his head, avoiding eye contact. Jessica, what do you really want? Come and go as you please. What do you take me for? I reached out and cupped his face. Ken, look at me. Helplessly, he lifted his head, his eyes about to shatter. I like you, Ken. I really like you. I want to be with you, never apart. Ken chuckled bitterly. With you, I can't tell what's real and what's fake anymore. Sorry, I whispered, realizing how deeply I had hurt him. But even so, in our past life, he was willing to give up everything for my revenge. Ken seemed resigned, sighed, Jessica, I'll give you one last chance. Before he could finish, I stood on my tiptoes and kissed him, silencing his words. That was my answer. Ken's kiss was aggressive, a bite that left my lip bleeding with a metallic taste. It hurt, and I hit his chest. He wouldn't let go, pulled me by the waist, and hoisted me onto the hard bed. Though he seemed fierce, with his hands cradling my head, he was protecting me from hitting it. I held him tight. On the narrow single bed, we squeezed together. Daylight shimmered in his eyes. Ken, his eyes shining, asked, Jessica, who am I? Ken, I answered, looking at him earnestly. His grip on my waist was strong, fearing I would disappear the next second. This is on you. You leave and come back? I spread my arms around him, and tears of joy spilled from the reunion, falling on my shoulder. Ken was crying. What happened next spiraled out of control. I pleaded repeatedly, be gentle, Ken. It's daytime. I left scratches along his back as Ken devoted his attention to kissing me, murmuring, why do you have to provoke me during the day? Me? He silenced me with a kiss, perhaps fearing I'd flee mid-act to get married. We went from bed to sofa, to balcony, to bathroom, exhausted and in chaos. When it was over, Ken held me close, his voice hoarse. Jessica, don't leave me again. I nodded, hugging him tight. Ken, let's get married. When Ken and I arrived hand in hand, an unexpected guest awaited us. Jessica, where were you? Even if you don't care about me, think of your parents, they're worried sick. Seeing him, Ken instinctively placed himself between us. Vincent sneered, chatting with my wife, who do you think you are? This is my husband, I introduced. I had taken our household registration when I left, just in case. Strangely, I had to thank Vincent's father. Since he couldn't stand my family, he refused a pre-marriage with Vincent, giving me the chance to wed Ken. Vincent was dumbfounded, the smile vanishing from his face. Wearing gold-rimmed glasses, he reeked of pretentiousness, a straight-up scoundrel. Jessica, have you thought about the consequences of this? On the way to the marriage office, I filled Ken in on the situation back home. He remained silent. I was scared and grabbed his hand, asking, Ken, are you having second thoughts? I do regret, he said, making my heart skip a beat. Pulling me into his embrace, filled with kindness, he continued, if I'd known you'd suffer so much after leaving me, I'd never have let you go. The image of Ken from the night before his execution overlaps with my memories. He's sitting by the bed in the cell. Tears streamed down my face. Ken wiped them away and said, it'll be fine, Jessica, it'll all be fine. I won't let you leave me again. Ken and I held hands. Vincent, besides using my parents to threaten me, what else can you do? He paused, then suddenly laughed. Doesn't matter how many tricks there are, as long as they work, he said smugly. My phone rang. It was my mom. Jessica, where are you? Who are you with? You know you've been caught on camera, right? Vincent's smug face was disgusting. All he knew were these lowly tactics, manipulating public opinion, and causing stock prices to plummet. A photo of Ken and me at the civil registry went viral on all major platforms. Shocking. The truth behind Jessica's runaway bride story. On the day she was supposed to marry, she registered with someone else. There were rumors that I betrayed Vincent and ran off with a broke mechanic. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal, but Vincent was a pro at marketing himself, appearing on reality dating shows, showing off his one-sided love. Everyone praised him for being a naive rich boy. Now, people are siding with him. I told you there's no good outcome for a simp. Why choose a mechanic over a wealthy heir? Is there something special about him? Weren't they broken up? Why are they back together? What? Get someone who knows the inside story. Yeah, Jessica was after the money, broke up with my brother ages ago. Why back together now? He must have run out of money. Suddenly, all sorts of nasty rumors about me emerged, that I bullied classmates and colleagues. People kicked me when I was down, saying all sorts of things. Vincent casually said, Jessica, if you are willing to come back to me now, I can act as if none of this happened. Dream on. I took Ken's hand, ready to leave. Ken's phone rang too. It was Sam. Ken, where are you? Someone's causing trouble at the shop. It was those guys from last night. They accused Ken of swapping out car parts while repairing their vehicle. The car owner, intimidated by them, didn't dare to look Ken in the eye. Ken, please, just give me back my parts, he pleaded. Ken shot them a look and said, I'm not giving back something I didn't take. You say you didn't do it? The thugs banged a bat on the table, acting like they owned the place. Mechanic, are you looking for a trip to the police station? No. The thought of Ken going to prison again just broke my heart. Are these your guys? I asked Vincent, who stood with his arms crossed. Jessica, what are you talking about? I'm confused. He feigned ignorance. Cut it out. There's no way these guys would have the nerve to act like this without someone backing them. So what's your goal, Vincent? He gave a wicked smile. What do you think? I sighed. I'll go with you, but you have to leave Ken alone. Ken heard us, looked over, and sternly called out, Jessica, his voice carrying a warning. I gave him a look, and Vincent signaled for his goons to spit and leave. Wait, I stopped them. If you leave now, what stops you from coming back tomorrow? The head thug looked frustrated. Fine, what do you want? I handed him a pen and paper. Write it down in black and white, otherwise, I can't rest easy. The thug instinctively glanced at Vincent. Jessica, don't be greedy, Vincent chuckled. Then do what you want. I don't care. I'll go to jail with Ken if necessary. Vincent tried to speak, but Ken pulled me into his arms. Jessica, I told you, I won't let you go. But, he insisted I just listen to him, so I kept quiet. Ken suggested to the car owner, call the police. Let them investigate what parts you supposedly lost. The owner didn't want things to get bigger. No need, Ken. Just pay a bit and it'll be fine. Pay a bit? That's not right. This is theft. They shouted to draw a crowd. Soon, the police arrived and took us all in. In the patrol car, Rita complained. Bad luck follows you. Otherwise we wouldn't be in this mess. Ken held me, shot her a look. Rita apologized to her. No way. She turned away, eyes red. She's the adopted daughter of Ken's parents. I knew she always had a thing for Ken. We just got to the police station, and Ken was trending again. Someone said he stole parts and got arrested, causing yet another online frenzy. Clearing the truth takes time. Spreading a rumor takes one line, clarifying it feels like running a marathon. After investigating for 3 days, Ken was cleared and released. But online chaos remained. The business at the shop was ruined. No matter how often we tried to clarify online, no one believed us. The best way to squelch a rumor isn't trying to clarify it. It's to create another rumor. I pulled out my phone and posted the content I'd prepared for days. Then told all the influencers I'd recently treated to dinner. Go ahead, share it. 5 minutes later, the trending topics switched. Vincent cheating scandal, the post exploded. Proof with photos. Him and my supposed best friend, entering a hotel, hooking up in the car. Soon, insiders came forward, saying how good I was to her, protected her when she was bullied, funded her education, gave her a job. Farmer and the snake, they said. This is how she repaid me. This time, it's Vincent facing stock drops. My friend called me, Jessica, what do you have against me? Why set me up? Nothing personal, but why'd you steal my fiancé? I replied, relaxing with a face mask on. You didn't even love him, right? True, so you took him. But why slander me? She was the only one who knew details from school and work. All those slanderous posts were her doing. She hung up, saying she'd see me around, vowing to get back at me. I nodded, well, you should get some sleep. Dreams have everything. The day Ken got out, I was the one who picked him up. While showering, Ken pulled me in with him. I slipped and fell into his arms. The steam made my eyes sting. Ken pressed me against the wall. He kissed me. He's rarely this intense. Breathless, I asked him, Ken, what's up with you? Sweat dripped onto my shoulder. No, maybe those were his tears. Jessica, I had a nightmare. Ken's dream was about our ending in a past life. We held each other tightly. Ken, don't be scared. I'm back, and we'll change that ending. That night, he held me so tight. Every time I moved, he'd pull me back, locking me in his embrace. In his sleep, he mumbled, Jessica, don't go. Don't leave me. I quietly switched my dad to a different hospital. Didn't tell anyone. Not even my mom. Ken found the place for me. One of his clients, the heir of a private hospital. Ken, I've got the old man here, no worries. That Vincent, I've disliked him for a long time. Good thing I acted fast. Vincent didn't have a chance to mess with my dad. Dad, with me around, nobody will lay a finger on you. My dad's eyes welled up with tears. Post-stroke, Vincent bullied my dad, not even pretending in front of him. When we weren't around, he really took it out on him. My dad couldn't say much, just silently cried looking at me. I pulled Ken over and said, Dad, Ken and I got married. Rest easy, I'll sort out the company stuff. Dad didn't say anything. He just lifted my hand with effort. His lips moved. I read his lips say sorry. Everyone else had woken up, except my mom, who still trusted Vincent. In the past life, Vincent tampered with her brakes, causing a crash that killed her instantly. With Ken, I inspected my mom's car. The brake line was cut. Evidence was clear. Mom still couldn't believe it. Impossible. Vincent would never do that. I sighed. Mom, wasn't it Vincent who had the car serviced? Yes, but maybe he got deceived too. You can't wake someone pretending to sleep, unless you show them undeniable proof. The guy who hit my mom, a mentally ill guy, Sam had been watching him for days. Vincent was cunning. He used someone with a mental illness. But if he could trick the guy, so could we. Sam posed as a repairman, went in, and planted a bug in the guy's house. Proof was there. Mom collapsed onto the couch. After a while, she reached out to me with teary eyes. Jessica, I'm sorry for everything. It's Mom who's wronged you. I shook my head, hugged her tight. As long as Mom and Dad are here, it's all good. The evidence from the bug. Can't let the cops hear it. Sam found another chance to go back and remove it. He's practically brothers with the guy now. Sam advised, we can't do harmful stuff. You know that? Who knows if he got through to him. That day, after work, Ken showed up on a motorcycle to pick me up. Where's your car? He casually replied, too flashy, didn't like it anymore. It was his first car. He treasured it. No way he just didn't like it. Ken, tell me the truth. Did you sell it? Ken gave a helpless smile. My Jessica, getting smarter by the day. Why? He handed me a bank card. I know you need money right now. I can't help much, but I have some savings. It's not much, but should last you a bit. Ken's not just a mechanic. He customizes cars, races them, even some pro clubs work with him. I took the card. Thank you, Ken. He grabbed my hand, putting it around his waist, hold on tight. Flying down the road. It felt amazing. I knew the company's crisis was Vincent's doing. Before the final showdown, I had to get stronger. I begged Ken to teach me self-defense. He couldn't bear to really hit me. I told him, you might go easy on me, but others won't. Ken was a great teacher. I ended up with bruises every day. When will I finally beat you? He helped apply medicine, chuckled. Next life, maybe. I bit his chin. Stop fooling around. I pulled on his shirt and pushed him onto the bed. Ken's eyes darkened, staring at me. Straddling him, feeling his amused gaze, I suddenly panicked. Forget it, I give up. I tried to leave. Ken held my waist, teased and run. Jessica, who taught you that? He guided my hand, showing me. I shook my head, almost tearing up. Ken, I can't. My wrist was sore. All wasted effort. Frustrated, I said, Ken, I'm exhausted. He simply smiled. Wanna keep playing? No, no. Only then did he sit up. He took over. Baby, let me help you. He didn't mean with his hands. He used his mouth. I surrendered, holding his head. Never dared claim I'd beat him again. Difference in strength, I accepted. Holding him, I asked, Ken, what if I lose? Playing with my hair, he said, it's okay. If the sky falls, I'll hold it up for you. Shaking my head, I told him, Ken, I'll win. He kissed my lips, coaxing me like a child. Yes, my Jessica, you're the best. I knew. There was a mole in my company, feeding Vincent our prices. Vincent disrupted the market with unfair competition, stealing our deals. I leaked false prices intentionally, catching them off guard. I found the spy. Leaking trade secrets and taking kickbacks is a prison sentence. Plus, Ken's team tailing him daily. Under dual pressure, he soon turned himself in, revealing everything about Vincent. When Vincent came knocking, I was home alone. Jessica, have you lost it? Trying to destroy me, aren't you? He even brought a gun, pointing it at me. Jessica, if I go down, you're coming with me. I was freaking out. My palms were sweaty. I'd never had a gun pointed at me before. I swallowed hard, raised my hands, and stepped back. Vincent, calm down, let's talk. Don't give me that nonsense. Jessica, it's either marry me or we die together. Your choice. I pinched myself, tears welling up. Marry you. What about her? I broke down. Vincent hesitated for a second. Jessica, I knew it. You still care about me. Don't worry, I'm done with her. Once we're married, everything will be fine. Let's get married, okay? The more he spoke, the more worked up he got, and his hand started shaking. I was terrified he might accidentally pull the trigger. I had to agree for now. All right, Vincent, we can get married, but you must break up with her. Okay, Jessica, I'll break up with her. I stalled for time. You say you'll break up, Vincent. I don't believe you. Then what do you want? Call her right now and end it. Vincent took out his phone. While he dialed, I thought about grabbing his gun. Ken had taught me this trick, but I was too weak. In the struggle, 2 shots went off. It felt like fireworks in my hand. I nearly froze on the spot, drenched in sweat. Jessica. I froze, turning to see Ken rush in. He wasn't alone. The cops were with him. Vincent's right hand was hit. He fired wildly and made a frantic getaway. I hid behind the couch, my clothes soaked in sweat. Ken rushed over and hugged me tightly. Jessica, it's okay, now. It's over. I heard a car engine roar. Vincent drove off through the back, in the car from my mom's garage. Vincent got into a car crash, died on the spot. The car that hit him was my mom's, driven by that same lunatic. Turns out, the madman wasn't reformed by Sam, but instead, he ended up killing his benefactor. With Vincent's death, I went on the offensive and took down several major shareholders tied to him, pulling them out by the roots. The company was reborn from the ashes. My dad's condition improved a bit. Although half his body's still paralyzed, he's at least speaking more fluently now. We all brought him home. As we were leaving, my parents stopped me. Jessica, Ken. I turned around. What's up? Mom looked a bit embarrassed. She'd never thought highly of Ken before and had said some harsh things. I wanted to ask when you two are planning your wedding. Ken paused, then chuckled. Anytime, Auntie. We'll go with what you like. Really? I've been waiting to hear you say that. So, I've got some good dates picked out. Come over, check them out, and see when suits you best. Mom pulled Ken along. I sighed and followed them. At night, Ken wasn't easy on me. Jessica, did you say you'd marry him? No, it was just a trick to fool him. Ken wouldn't drop it, kept asking me who he was. In the end, he made me call him hubby. The more I said it, the more excited he got. I got fed up and kicked him off the bed. Get lost, I'm exhausted. Not serving you anymore. We set the wedding for March 8th. I didn't let Ken pick me up, I drove to get him instead. It was my first time seeing Ken in a suit. He looked good enough to eat. He gazed at me, eyes teary. When he saw the car I drove, he froze. Jessica, I tossed him the keys to the red sports car. Ken, from here on out, you drive. The sun was just right. We nestled together. After all this time, I finally married the one I love most.